This is the Roger Orozco Show.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. The star, Ashtin. Special guest, Mr. Lopez, on the school board a couple times. I was on the school board a couple times. Fathers, and there's a group of us that are supporting Miss Alanis.
Yes, I wanted to do a show to show my support for her. She is a proven board member. She has the stomach for it. You know, a lot of board members say that they're for the kids, but when it comes down to vote, they don't vote that way. Mm-hmm. And Miss Alanis has done it over and over again.
Yes. So Mrs. Alanis is running. She's the incumbent running against Pardon Duarte. She was she was an educator here at the district. The district hasn't done well, especially with state testing, and so it's kind of one of those things where, hey, you were there, didn't really know what you did as far as, well, we know what the school was doing as far as state testing. Mrs. Alanis is not status quo, is working for the people, and you can see it by the votes. That's what you're bringing up, right?
Yeah.
There's been some outrageous.
The wrestling facility.
The wrestling facility got on the agenda thanks to Mrs. Alanis.
Thanks to Mrs. Alanis.
You asked your local board member, your area. I asked mine. We got no response back.
Nope.
Mrs. Alanis is the only one that helped, and that's that's coming up in I think another year. They're gonna start breaking ground in 2025. I think.
Nice.
So that's Mrs. Alanis, proven. We know there was some outrageous contracts. She was the only one that voted no. Measure L, the people tax themselves to help the school district, and you saw all this money, this extra money going to the unions and to management. And the only one that didn't support a lot of that was Mrs. Alanis. And then there was a partial salary coming out of Measure L, which was a promise to the people, us, that wouldn't happen. The board, 4 members of that board voted for it. Mrs. Alanis was the only one that said, keep the promise to the people.
Yeah, and
that's why you should vote for her.
Well, yes, and there's a lot of pressure when you're on the board and the district is trying to groom you in a certain way. And,
in your opinion.
And the public is understanding things a certain way, and you can stand by your beliefs and what is right and what is best for the kids, and not just saying it but actually doing it.
Yeah, and with your actions is your actual vote. You
Vote.
have guys going around, it's all about the kids, but then their voting record's no good. It stinks. Now you mentioned the word grooming, but I don't want people to take it the wrong way. You're kind of saying that they're trying to show they're pushing it in their way,
yeah.
their admin way. And Mrs. Alanis.
And when you come to the table and there's money that goes to operation costs, but then there's also other monies that can go to either the kids or to the teachers and
Teachers union, yeah.
Teachers union, and the teachers union has reps there to get the money.
Negotiators, yeah.
But the kids don't come to the table. There's no children there saying, "Hey, I need this, I need that, I need better education." Yeah. What you have is a trustee. And those trustees need to represent those kids.
Yeah.
And we've heard in the past, board members say, "Yeah, I'm for the kids. I'm for the kids. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And then they get on the board.
And they don't do anything.
They don't do anything, or
our reps,
or because they can't stomach it.
They don't have no stomach.
It's too difficult for them to
go against the grain.
To go against the grain. It's too difficult for them to be disliked. That's really what it is, because you're going to be disliked.
They're afraid.
They're afraid. And so they just go with the flow. They go along to get along. They get along to go along, and that doesn't get the best result for the kids.
No, and it shows you by the money. Instead of fighting for every percentage, because you to be fair, right? Like the district, before this last contract, 701, 8%. They thought that was fair. I thought it was too much, but then they move the salary schedule. 1 to 9% is what I was told, and then they give out bonuses, and then the people tax themselves, to help. And after we tax ourselves, all that happens. A lot of that happens. And then, now remember, we did a video where they're fighting in May. They're fighting over 1% because money's going to be tight. But then they give out a 3-year contract with 9% plus money for insurance. Where'd you get that money? They can't even tell you where they got the money. But one of the biggest things out of all that is they don't know where the money's coming from. The board members, some of these board members don't know where that 9% in 3 years is coming from. That's a bad deal.
Oh yeah, because those board members represent the people.
Yeah,
the
so
people's money.
Yeah, and they did that when they my representative, Mr. Fedor, did it when I called him. Not this summer, the summer before, when they had that union contract for summer school teachers, and it was about $3,000 for about 24 hours. 24 hours of work a week. Some of them worked a little bit more than that on the contract. It might have been, I think it was 7:30 to 1:30. Some of them were a little bit longer, 2 grades, I believe. But for the most part, 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, $3,000. It was $750 a day. When I asked my rep, they didn't tell us. They didn't tell us about the money. Well, why'd you sign off on it? Mrs. Alanis is the only one questioning stuff, man. So that's a bad deal. And then the last video we did with Mrs. Alanis here, she brought up how she was asked to lie to the people.
Yeah.
And she said no. And we know how that is, right? We were on the board.
Yeah, we were on the board.
Yeah,
I was told, hey, there's a lot of benefits to being on the board, Gilbert. You just can't, you got to go along.
Yeah,
and
they do that.
I was met outside of a meeting.
Yeah.
By a certain
Me
board
too,
member.
many times.
Yeah, and said, hey, Gilbert, you know what I mean? Trying to push me in this way and show me the benefits of the board. But I wasn't there for that. I was there for the community's kids.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to belong to their circle. And I wouldn't sign off on anything. Everything I questioned. Spent a lot of hours, questioning things and researching things, and as does Miss Alanis. And
integrity, man. Integrity. What you tell the people is what you do.
Right. Even when it gets hard.
Even when it gets hard, you can't be the other way, man.
I know.
Because it's for the kids.
I was pressured lots. I was threatened. I was told things. I was, called names and, all the things you...
Oh, yeah. So if you went along with the flow, if you appeased them, everybody likes you.
Everybody
will like you. I could have been
Hey.
like... My wife told me one time, man, did you get tired of people not liking you? I go, they don't like me because I've tried to put kids first.
You know why?
Maybe I don't like them.
Because when the kids are not at the table, Roger, you are representing
Exactly. So this is why we're doing the video for Mrs. Alanis. She's been at
Area
that
1.
table, District 1. She's been at that table for our kids, while the other ones proven, and the other ones haven't.
Battle tested and
Yes.
proven. Battle tested and proven.
And proven, yes. And her opponent.
Selma Wrestling, you know that. She is responsible for you guys.
Yeah. If you don't know it, man, you need to start asking, and you need to find out, because it's going to happen because of her.
Right.
The other thing, too, is the fathers, ex-board members, fathers. There's a little group of us that know Mrs. Alanis' record, and we're supporting her. And her opponent now has signs in town that'll say that the union, I think it's the Teachers Association supporting her. The union. So you got to make sure you understand this. You got to the union heads when they negotiate, they're negotiating for the adults. The union is it for the adults. Mrs. Alanis has been on the board and is a proven voting record for us, for the parents, for our children, and for the fathers that are helping her.
Yep. And she's not only said it, but she's done it.
She's done it when the other ones haven't.
Yeah. So, other board members that are sitting now promised a lot of things, and
you didn't do it.
I think I saw they lasted one meeting.
Yeah. They flipped on everything within 6 weeks of taking over.
It was just too much pressure. They didn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Mark Medina, Joe Fedor, Sahota, who's running this year, they didn't have the stomachs. Kessler, they didn't have the stomach for it. No. So they appeased, man. They given up. And wait, let me just say this. So $3,000 a week for 24 hours for most workers last summer school. They did the 7-1. They got 8%. There was a 4% bonus. Salary schedule is moved anywhere from 1 to 9, and then they do a 3-year contract with 5%, 4 in the first year, 4% in the last year, $1,000 for insurance plus third year, a couple $100 or more for insurance. So if you add up all that, man, even if it was one time, and even for the top tier, I'm talking the top tier. Not everybody, because they have to, there's different salary schedules. So for the top tier, some of these people, the ones that got the 9% on the salary schedule, from what we were told, you got 9%, 7 to 1, 8, 4%. What's that? 21. Then you got a 3-year deal with the 5 and a 4. It's 30%. 30% some of these guys got. I'm not saying it's all going because of the bonus one, but if you add it all up, man, at least one time, it's 30%.
Yeah.
That's what the numbers say. And Mrs. Alanis is the only one that didn't vote for all that stuff.
Right.
And I don't know if she might have voted for one or whatever, but...
That brings up a good point. So are they bringing in one of their own to support them?
Okay, so here's another thing. So Mr. Sahota that's on there, Mrs. Kessler, Mr. Fedor, there was a meeting, and I think it was kind of a private meeting. I got invited, but I didn't know they were doing that. Ashtin, come over here, babe. And those three, Sahota, Fedor, and Kessler, were there with Mrs. Alanis's opponent. And what I heard...
Sitting board members.
Yeah, and one or two of those board members were promoting.
Yeah. You know why, Roger?
Promoting.
You know why?
Why?
Because it makes them look bad when she's the only one voting against it.
Yes.
Because then people question them.
Yes.
Why is Miss Alanis not going with the flow?
And then Miss Alanis is going to tell you why. They
Yeah.
want me to lie.
Yeah.
Some of them want me to lie. So,
Yeah.
and look,
And
where's the money?
it
What are
makes
our
them
kids
look
getting
bad.
out of it?
So they want a 5-0 vote.
That's what
so
they
no
want.
one questions nothing. It's a united front.
Yep. So people, please, anybody that watches this, your kids go to school here.
Yeah, I was there. I know how it works.
Oh, yeah, I do too. and very vocal about it.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal. 3 members met to talk about a person running against a sitting member. Why? The only member that votes no, they're trying to. It looks like they're trying to recruit somebody, in my opinion, to replace the one person that's voted no.
That has integrity, that is accountable, who's
Yeah.
proven actually for the kids.
Proven. Now, all this is our opinion, too, because some people start crying about stuff. So you got to make sure. This is our opinion from what we know and see.
Well, I sat with
We
her.
know.
I
did too.
I was on the board with her.
Yeah, it
So
was
I'm-
very one way for kids.
Yeah, in the public and behind closed doors, both.
Yes, you got to be the same way. These guys are horrific.
Yeah.
And not only that, let me add this, Gilbert. Public Records Act. I was asked to go to the district office to talk about it because it's costing them money. That's their damn problem, bro.
Right.
You give out all this money, the Me Too for admin. I mean, you're talking, if you add up these increases, man, it's over millions of dollars over a course of time.
Yeah.
And they want this father. The people are the watchdogs.
Right.
They want me to save money by not doing it as much as I guess that's what they were trying to tell me. Hey, can we talk about it? No, you can't talk about it. We are the watchdogs.
Yeah, they're just trying to frame it in a way that you look bad and that.
That's what they did. So they bring that up. That's what they try to do. They look bad because they're doing it. And how dare you guys ask the people, the watchdogs, not to do it so much.
Yeah, not to hold you accountable.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Talk about it yourself.
Yeah.
No, they would just be even more outrageous. Can you imagine? They have been an appeasement board taken away from our kids. No one talks about it but us, dude. And Mrs. Alanis is the only standing voice for common sense, especially when it comes to money.